Hello, I'm back. In today's video, I will attempt to explain as clearly as possible why the Russian invasion of Ukraine, which as Putin ordered 9 months ago, is actually illegal. Simply put, the invasion undermines the 1945 UN Charter, which is arguably one of the most significant documents of international law. For example, Article 2, Principle 4 of the Charter provides that all members of the UN shall refrain in their international relations from the threat or use of force against the territorial integrity or political independence of any state, or in any other manner inconsistent with the purposes of the United Nations. Along similar lines, Article 2, Principle 3 of the Charter requires all member states to settle their international disputes by peaceful means in such a manner that international peace and security and justice are not endangered. Many experts on international law and foreign affairs have stated that the Russian invasion of Ukraine violates these principles, namely the prohibition on the use of force against other states. They also generally rejected the Russian government's official legal justifications for the invasion, that use of force against Ukraine is lawful under Article 51 of the UN Charter, which preserves the rights of the UN member states to defend themselves against an armed attack and to engage in collective self-defense. Specifically, Russia claimed that it may use force against Ukraine in order to defend the Donetsk People's Republic and the Luhansk People's Republic, which Russia recognizes as independent states. International law and foreign policy experts such as John B. Bellinger III, Gabriela Blum, Naz Mordeh-Zadeh and Anthony Dworkin have criticized this argument. Furthermore, Bellinger and Dworkin argue that Russia cannot rely on the self-defense justification because Ukraine has not threatened or attacked any other nation. All four scholars also suggested that even if Ukraine had been planning an attack against Donetsk or Luhansk, Russia could not invoke Article 51's collective self-defense provision because these regions are not recognized as separate states under international law. Alan Weiner of Stanford Law School made a similar argument, likening Russia's collective self-defense arguments to a hypothetical situation where the modern entity calling itself the Independent Republic of Texas invited a foreign government to send troops to fight against the United States. Likewise, experts have rejected Russia's argument that its invasion is justified on humanitarian grounds to protect Russia's speakers in the Donbass. Some commentators regard this as a pretext, and these claims are unsubstantiated by any evidence that Ukraine has committed or is committing any acts against Russian in Donetsk or Luhansk that could amount to genocide. The invasion of Ukraine may also have violated international agreements that Russia is a party to, including the 1975 Helsinki Final Act, in which the then USSR promised not to violate the territorial integrity of other signees, including through the use of force, the 1994 Budapest Memorandum, in which Russia, the United States and the United Kingdom agreed to respect the independent sovereignty and the existing borders of Ukraine in exchange for Ukraine surrendering the nuclear weapons it inherited following the breakup of the Soviet Union, and the Minsk Agreements, a pair of ceasefire agreements signed by Russia and Ukraine relating to the conflict between those countries that began in 2014, only for Putin to declare that the Minsk Agreements no longer existed in 2022. Some commentators noted that, in addition to violating international law, the invasion of Ukraine violated some countries' domestic criminal codes. For example, Article 353 of the Russian Criminal Code prohibits planning, preparing, unleashing or waging an aggressive war. And then there's Russia's constant attacks against civilian infrastructure, which seem to violate Protocol 1 of the Geneva Conventions, which was added in 1977. Articles 51 and 54 outlaw indiscriminate attacks on civilian populations and destruction of food, water and other materials needed for survival, which include directly attacking civilian, non-military targets, but also using technology such as biological weapons, nuclear weapons and landmines, whose scope of destruction cannot be limited. A total war that does not distinguish between civilians and military targets is considered a war crime. In addition, Articles 56 and 53 outlaw attacks on dams, dikes, nuclear electrical generating stations and places of worship. And if that wasn't enough, Putin's repeated allegations of genocide and comparison of Ukraine to a Nazi state could easily leave him open to charges of slander. In light of all that, it's no wonder that, following the invasion, Ukraine decided to sue Russia in the International Court of Justice. The lawsuit rejected Russia's claims that Ukraine was engaging in genocide in Donbass and requested a court order requiring Russia to immediately halt its military operations in Ukraine. It also accuses Russia of engaging in a military invasion of Ukraine involving grave and widespread violations of the human rights of the Ukrainian people. On 16 March 2022, the court ruled that Russia must immediately suspend the military operations that had commenced on 24 February 2022 in the territory of Ukraine. The court split 13-2 in the decision, with the Russian and Chinese judges dissenting. Ukraine President Volodymyr Zelensky hailed the ruling as a complete victory for his country, saying that Russia will be further isolated if it ignored the order. Unfortunately, that seems to be wishful thinking, given the large numbers of Iranian-supplied kamikaze drones Russia is currently using. What do you think of the Ukraine situation? Can you think of any other steps the international community can take against Russia? Should Russia be stripped of its membership of the UN Security Council? Please let me know your thoughts in the comments section. If you want to watch my previous video about why Russia launched the invasion when it did, just click the box on the screen. I hope you enjoyed this video. Feel free to share, subscribe and click the notification bell, and I'll be back soon.